Afrikaner lobby group, AfriForum and Solidarity, have clarified that they are not calling for a separate development, but funding to build their own schools to preserve their culture, they say. The clarification comes after the group has handed a memorandum to the White House officials on Tuesday calling for aid from America to fund this Afrikaner development for those who do not take up the refugee status in the United States. The groups were in America calling on the Trump administration not to impose punitive measures on South Africa after the US president issued an executive order cutting aid to the country. Joining us now to talk more about this is Juniour Khumalo, who has been tracking the story for us. Juniour, good evening to you. And I know that you have spoken to AfriForum. You'll tell us in a moment what they have had to say to you. But question is, are they back in the country already, or they still in America?
They're actually still in America, Toli. We did manage to speak to the CEO of AfriForum, Kriel. He is still in America. There are about 4 representatives of this movement, basically calling itself the Solidarity Movement. So it's AfriForum, Solidarity, and other smaller Africans interest groups that are in America. They met with senior White House officials on Tuesday.
Is it mentioned who exactly did
there's actually a lot of secrecy around who they were meeting and which other meetings they've lined up. So when I spoke to Mr. Kriel, he said that there are other meetings that are lined up for this week, but for now they can't share who they have met. They say that this is the prerogative of the White House to reveal this information if they want to share this. They're saying that they are actually fearful that because the ANC-led government, the coalition government, is going to send an envoy to the US, they don't want them basically to know who they met when they do go there. I'm not sure why they're saying this, but there has been a lot of demands that they made. They actually submitted a memorandum called the Washington Memorandum. They are saying in this memorandum that they don't want South Africa basically to lose out on the AGOA agreement with the United States of America. They're also saying that ANC officials, government officials, are the ones that should be targeted by the US government, not South Africa, and the withdrawal of this aid as well. So quite a number of basically demands that have been made. But most interesting is this one about asking for funding from the United States government, saying that they don't, for Afrikaners who don't want to take up the refugee status that has been offered by America, then America should basically give funding to these Afrikaners with an Afrikaner development being set aside. I asked Mr. Kriel whether this is something of the nature of Orania that we've seen in South Africa, but he seems to suggest that no, it is not. We just want to preserve the culture of the Afrikaans community, basically. But we did speak to one international relations expert just to ask him about these requests that are being made by AfriForum, in particular for the US government to put pressure on South Africa to try and do away with the Bella Act as well as the Expropriation Act. This is what the expert had to say.
Is unprecedented. In fact, it is unpatriotic. It is unacceptable. The South African constitutional democracy is such that there is a lot of room for disagreements. We've seen the robustness of our judicial system. They could have taken up the matter within the courts and so on. And our government and parliament have been subjected to our judiciary and have complied.
Unprecedented is the word used by Oscar van Heerden to try and describe what is going on. And also interesting, Juniour, is that the American, or should I say South Africa's ambassador to America, has, at least reportedly, we're not getting this from him directly, but there are reports suggesting that he has had difficulty trying to set up meetings with the Trump administration. And yet, here's AfriForum from South Africa, and they go straight to the White House, and they are given an audience. What does Kriel say, or did he explain how they were able to secure these meetings?
Indeed, Xoli, not just the South African ambassador to America. Actually, the international relations minister as well has said that they've had challenges in trying to secure a meeting with America. The presidency has also indicated that they have been trying to secure a meeting with the White House, but it hasn't been easy. But we did manage to speak to Kali Krill, who is still in Washington, and basically he says that they were forced, their hand was forced because they've been trying to negotiate with the South African government, but they're seeming to hit a brick wall. That's why now they've gone to the Americans to try and lay out their case. But let's take a listen to what he had to say.
What we've done in South Africa, we've written to the president in April last year with regard to the Expropriation Act. He simply ignored us. Then with regard to the Bella Act, we were involved, our colleagues at Solidarity involved with negotiations with government, also mandated by the president, and he simply denied afterwards that he knew of the agreement that was reached. Then, of course, in the last month, we've heard the president's spokesperson saying they refuse to speak to us. The president will not meet with AfriForum and Solidarity. That's their prerogative. But if they don't want to speak to us, they should not become hysterical when we speak to people that do want to listen to what we have to say.
Interesting views indeed, and we're going to have to see how this one unfolds, Junior, and perhaps a reaction from government, if indeed they do decide to give that reaction. For the time being, thank you very much, Juniour Khumalo, keeping a beady eye on this particular story.